Welcome to Thrive, and welcome Dr. Pedro to our second episode of Thrive today. How are you doing today?
Hey, thank you, Christian, for inviting me. I'm doing pretty good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I just finished training in the first part of a 6-part long training in psychedelic assisted psychotherapy, specifically MDMA. It's a cool thing. It talks a lot about typical psychotherapy relationships, but also things that could happen in the session, which are kind of cool, like something called multiplicity, where if you're in the middle of a session, you will experience things like, or you could experience things like different aspects of your psyche, different potential, I don't know if personalities or potential lives that you could have had. It's kind of interesting and kind of difficult to explain, but the word is multiplicity. And then the other thing that I thought was cool too that can happen is something called a transpersonal experience, which basically means that you experience something outside of your usual self, or what you think you are.
Oh,
That's
that,
kind
that
of cool.
sounds crazy, man. That sounds crazy. That's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
crazy.
I'm pretty excited. I hope the FDA accepts it and lets us do it. I mean, we'll find out next year. But I wanted to talk with you today because I love your music, man. Your music's
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you, Christian. You used to make songs, remember?
I still do. I still do.
Oh,
I just do it as a hobby. I don't actually like record them, but maybe one day I will.
yes,
Maybe
sir.
in the future. Yeah. But
Thank you, man, for that, man. Thank you
yeah.
for liking
I
my
listen
music,
to it
man.
in Spotify all the time.
Oh, yeah?
I
Oh,
do.
that's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I've
Oh,
recommended it to friends. It's catchy. There's this one, Me olvidé de vivir. I really like that one. Yeah,
yeah, you like that one? That's nice.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like a dark, it's a dark. The original song is Julio Iglesias. It's like more romantic, the original, but this one is like a dark version of the original. So, right.
Oh, interesting. Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, you should check it out. The original, like it's Julio Iglesias.
Yeah,
Julio
I'll check it
Iglesias,
out.
Me olvidé vivir, but it's like a romantic take of the song. I did like a dark take of the song, or more
Cool.
rock. Yes.
Gotcha. So tell us a little bit about the CD that just came out. Well, I guess that we don't even do CDs anymore. So the album that came out.
Yeah. I put out an album last year called Noches Extrañas, which basically what it was. I've been doing songs for a long time, and what it was is finally, my first professional album with a full producer. I had this friend, which is his name is Sergio Sacoto. He's a singer from Ecuador. He used to have a big band over there, and he's been a long time friend. And we always been doing demos. And I strayed doing another kind of music like reggaeton and all the type of music. I started rock, then I went a little bit Latin. Then I came back to Sergio when I was here. I moved from Ecuador to here to US. Then I came here, and yeah, man, I had a whole bunch of songs. Started working with him. It took me a long time, like I used to, before that I used to do more songs. I had more songs, but it's the first time that I really worked on my songs. So it took a long time, but yeah, that's the album. It's just a lot of songs that I wanted to take, wanted to bring out.
Yeah, I follow you on Instagram, and I think I could be wrong, but I think I heard you say in one of your stories that the whole album is a story that you were telling of your life. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. It kind of is. It's the album I wanted it to like put like an end of a part of my life. Because I think as an artist you need like to express some of yours, and and it's a little bit about like the first song is called Aprendí a olvidar. which means I learned to forget. And basically, the no, if it is a story, I honestly, you know, I didn't like it, you know, the songs, they say something, but it's not like the dark side of the moon, like, you know, like they used to be like this kind of conceptual like albums, but this is not a conceptual album, but it does have a story, you know, of despair, and also, you know, I guess of love, or, you know, just going down and going up. That's the story. That's it.
Okay, going down and going up. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes sense to me.
yeah.
And I know that you wrote a new one too that you just recently put on Spotify as well.
La radio. That's the last one that I done. I have
Gotcha.
well, yeah. I released last year. I released that album. That was I think that was 9 songs. But that was like the thing about that album was an album that it took me a long time. Honestly, it took me a long time to get into the habit of working that professional. So that's why I took that long, because, you know, it took me long, like, to find myself, like the sound that I wanted to do. Eh, because well, this kind of not a long story. I'm gonna make a long story short. I came here. I came here to
We've got
study
time.
sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came here from Ecuador. In Ecuador, you know, I always been a musician. I was working before I came here. I was working with a Spanish band. That's what I was. That was my work, my only work over there. I was working with a band called Sonidos de Mi Gente, and that was like a Latin album. And I was like the composer and the producer. And I was making songs uh, for those guys. But to be honest, at this point, I really enjoy those songs. But since that was my job, I was like trying to, you know, make the songs that, you know, they're gonna be happy with, and they're gonna pay me with, you know.
Gotcha. So you
So
were an
I did.
employee and you were doing like what they like, not what you were passionate about.
I I like it, but, you know, it was like at first it was hard, because, you know, when you do something new, it's not fun. I was doing like Latin stuff and salsa and merengue, and I never done that, but I knew that I could do it. It was a challenge. And when I came here, you know, I really, I knew that I wanted more. You know, I was not satisfied of Ecuador at the moment, because I felt, you know, to be honest, like, to be an artist, you need money. And that, you know, or you need to have a job. You need to have a plan. You need to put that as a plan. You know, the money or the way you're gonna live. That is not gonna affect your art. So at that point, it was affecting my art, because, you know, but at that point, I was just thinking about surviving. So I was like, no, no, I need to take another step. So I came here. I came to the States, and I studied sound engineer. So, a sound engineer on a university called SAE.
Oh, so
I went
this
over
is
there.
college. So you were like thinking about it and then you came here for college to study music here in the
Yeah.
USA. Okay, gotcha.
See, that was like 8 years ago.
Okay.
So I studied sound engineer, and it was awesome. And yeah, you know, and after that, I went like into like a phase. Always, every time that you want to scale up, like as an artist, always you take like 2 steps down. Like, it's weird. I came here, and I had to like kind of learn things again, like as an engineer, because I used to have like an engineer. Now I'm the engineer. So I did a mistake at that point, which it was when you start recording yourself, you think that everything is nice. Like, of course, you know, you think everything is cool, because we as artists, that's fine. We fall in love of our songs. You know, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. So what I did, you know, it was really not a mistake. Like Miles Davis says, there's no mistakes. It was part of the process. I think it was part of the process, but I did kind of a mistake, because, you know, since I could record myself, I started recording every fucking bullshit that I could, and I started just put it in now, put it in now, and there was like, you know, just chaos. And you know, even my brother, which he likes my songs, he was like, you know, those songs that you put out, you know, I just it's boring, and I just thought about it, you know, and I saw it from another perspective. Yeah, yeah. You know, but it was like a duckling, ugly dog face, and it was necessary. So after that, I started working with Sergio, and we did this album. And and I
Wait,
wanted to
but
go to
I
this
didn't
part.
I didn't understand the ugly duckling. Like you mean like you were recording a lot of stuff and like you didn't like it as much, or what was going on?
No, no, I did love it, but it was just like it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense what I wanted to do or what I was doing because I came like doing like a lot of rap and Spanish things, and I wanted to like mix and do like, oh, I'm gonna experiment, but it was like too abstract, like songs without
To
choruses,
fusion.
without too future, too no verses. Like it was like too crazy without form, and I just started putting those songs out on Spotify and everywhere, and I started like even like getting like art guys to make art, and it was cool. But honestly, as an artist, that was not really like nobody liked those songs. And but it was part of the process.
So it was like
But then
you were ahead of your time. People didn't even understand what you were
they
doing.
don't understand. They didn't understand.
Okay.
And and then I got together with Sergio. I called him, and he told me like he's a friend of mine. Like this is a really hard profession. Like if you want to do songs, it's a hard road. It's a really long road. And he talked with me, and and this is really important. Like if somebody will listen this is gonna listen this podcast, this is a really important part. Like it doesn't matter what you do, if you are like a doctor or a musician, you always need to surround with the right people. And like I'm not a friends person, but I always every time I see a musician that I admire, I try to win his friendship. And Sergio, he's not like the greatest musician in the world, but he's amazing, and he's like 100 times better than me. Like every way. I hope sometimes I can get to his level, but but I always had him in my life, because I wanted to. I was aspiring to be like him, so I could see it, and he gave me a lot of good advice. He gave me a lot of good advice, which now after years I know they're the good advice. And one of them was like, like don't stop just putting out bullshit, and just work on your songs, really work on a song. And we started working on one song, which was Siete Días. That was a song that I did on college, and I started working with him, and we did a great song. But the thing about that it was also expensive. So even though
How
he was my
expensive? How
friend,
much is it to make a song?
it it really depends. Like a producer, like he didn't charge me that, but a top producer like
Hmm.
Sergio is gonna charge you around 2,500, 3,000, maybe 2,000. His close friend. He was my friend. He's my friend. He was charging me 1,000.
Hmm.
But that for me at the moment it was super. It was like just paying 1,000 because I just paid college. I just bought a whole.
Right.
It was weird. It was weird because the thing I think the problem was I went to college and I thought that after college I was gonna be like some kind of genius. Just everything that I want to do was gonna be. But no, I went through that phase, and it was really hard for me after I paid college, paying another guy to do what I was supposed to learn to do. But what was the process? And then we did the whole album, and that process took like 3 years. We did like one song, then after 6 months we did another song, but the songs were like too too apart. So even though I like those songs, they're really professional. I think the album was more like just like like uh just a collection of songs. It was just a collection of songs.
Just a collection
And
of songs that you've done in a long period of time. Gotcha.
yeah, there were a collection of songs, and they told a story of my life at that point, but it was just a collection. But there was an album. I think I just spoke a lot of things, man. Just went and hablé.
No, but I hear you. Like it's hard to be a musician. You're. I mean, I guess I never even tried to be a musician professionally, but I thought about it and I was scared. I was 100% scared because there's so much uncertainty that you have to deal with. Like you have to be brave to do that kind of stuff, I guess. And that's what I'm saying. Like you really open the road for yourself. And I
It's
realize,
more about bravery. It's more about bravery than talent, really.
real yeah, you just gotta be like fucking brave and like go and do it and play and kind of like show it to people and talk about it and just be there and go in persistence. I guess it's like a discipline and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Christian. Like now that I'm a man, because I'm not a kid, I'm a man. I'm 44, and
Okay.
I analyze. I love your psychologist. I mean, I love psychology. I read a lot, and I have understood a lot about myself because porque at this point, like it's really hard, like for me to understand how come why I kept going and I kept going, I kept going, I kept going. I never really stopped. For a long time, I never had a process, but I always knew what I wanted. I always wanted, to go through that road, and it's not hard road. But to be honest, the reason that I did it is because I it's just not boring. And for me to do songs, so exciting. It's super exciting. And sometimes, I get like, for me, the most awful feeling for me is like to be bored. I hate to be bored. To be bored, that's like the worst feeling. Like to be like, I'm bored. Like I hate that. I hate that. So maybe that's why that was something interesting, and I just kept going, and I and it was always not easy, not really easy, but I knew that I always have like a like a small talent, like to go with the flow when somebody was playing a song. Like I always had like that small talent, like yeah, like just like do a melody or improvise, and and I work over that. I have worked a lot over that. That I thought it was a small talent, and I've been able, to craft it and get better with that. Yeah,
Got
so I
it.
really love doing songs.
Yeah, because you don't want to be bored.
I don't want to be bored, man. Yeah, basically that's it. I don't want to be bored. Yeah, I've been pressured. Like I don't want. I can talk about fun, but I don't. But I've been pressured all my life. Like my generation. Like I don't know. Like now with my daughter, like if she wants to be whatever, I will go with her. But my generation, it was really like like my father. When I mean, I'm not blaming my father. It's just I'm just telling a story because the only one to blame is you, always, and you have to do that. But when I started, when I was in high school, my father was like, "Okay, you're gonna be an economist, and you're gonna go here, and you knew that you went through that place." So it's been a process. It's been really a process, but I'm really happy, man. That actually I'm doing things now that like work that I do that I feel really proud about. Like I really love it. I really love
Yeah.
it.
I mean, you
And when
seem
people
very
like it,
passionate about it.
kind of, I guess,
Yeah.
I try to get like into a process of of just trying to push and push and push when with the work. I I see a lot of podcasts. I guess you know about Gary V. Yeah, have you heard Gary V?
No, I don't know
He's
who
a
he is.
guy. You should just check him out. He's like an entrepreneur. He talks podcast. He talks a lot about about society and society. In fact, sometimes I think that we do a lot of stuff uh, to satisfy other people, careers, or even things, houses or jobs, or things. And he goes like mostly do whatever makes you happy. And and that I love that philosophy. I love that philosophy, and I'm pretty happy that I'm here in the U.S., especially now, because I think this is a place that you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You can do, you can get like I have look at the moment I have a part-time job that I do for the music. I wish in the future I want to do full music, but I can do a part-time. I can have my things and I can do my music. You keep it growing, and it's been growing. It's something I don't know if I could do it in Ecuador, honestly, but I could do it here. So I'm grateful for America.
That's cool. You know, I agree. I mean, opportunities here are very different from there. Like that's one of the reasons we come to the US, right? Because it's just the potential for income and expansion is just way bigger. It's just way bigger. Even as a doctor, if I was a psychiatrist in Ecuador, I possibly would do okay, but there's I don't know that I would do all the things that I'm imagining I want to do in my life over there. I don't know that I would be able to do so. It's just way harder, so many more hoops. I guess there's like just less money in general, right? Like there's just less money for that people would spend on. Like here, maybe you'll spend a few dollars in this thing and that thing, and you don't think much about it. But over there, you think more about it, and
Yeah,
that
that's
makes it
true.
harder to fight for that one extra dollar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah, it's super hard over there. Like to earn like $5 over there, like it's really sad what's going on over there, man. Like, but that anyway, that's not a excuse for anybody not to do anything. You know, I was over there, I came over here, everybody could do it. It's not just something for me. And I truly believe that it doesn't matter what you do, man. People just gotta stop blaming everybody. Like when I that's what I'm trying to change that philosophy for me. But philosophia. I used to be the guy that I was always blaming everybody for. I I'm not a good singer. I'm for that. And I'm just trying to blame myself. Like
Now you're
also
you're like really getting into responsibility, like self responsibility.
yeah, and also also I as it has a two sides. Like I blame myself, and I love myself for doing things. When I got that, I'm really happy when I'm happy. Yeah, man.
You remind me of a friend of mine says that you're the CEO of your life, and as long as you manage it well, you're gonna do well. And sometimes it's hard. I mean, I see what you're saying, right? Like in your childhood, you were told, oh, you have to be an economist, you have to do this thing, and then you didn't have a like other type of mentor or somebody that would guide you through the way that the path that you wanted to take. So everything was a fight, like a constant fight, and then despite that, eventually you came into the piece of, no, this is what I want to do, and there's nothing that can change that. I mean, clearly this is what you love doing. Any other thing would be like, oh, okay, I could do this, but it's gonna make me fucking bored.
Yeah, that's true, man. I mean, like I really like enjoy, like like I told you, like I work part time on an office, and when I got my day here, like today was my day to work on my music. Like I have a schedule, like an office. Like I wake up at 7. I go, I do this. That's an hour. I do like for me like works like in blocks. I work in 1 hour blocks, coffee or whatever. Come back another hour, back, and then I do a larger block. And also I try like when I start in the morning. It's super hard to be your boss. It's super hard to be your boss. And I also like try to organize the things. But that's the thing about about music. Like it doesn't make it really. It's really hard to get a handle of what you want to do in music. Like for me, my head it was super hard, and I think I got like more focused and oriented when I started like trying to help people underneath me. Because when you like you start climbing a little bit, when you climb a little bit, there's always going to be somebody down there, somebody starting even before. And I started like doing that, like helping people, talking with people, motivating, even though that I'm not like on top of everything. But but I do have songs. Also have songs on TV here on the US. And and
On
that
TV,
helped
like
me.
what channel?
Yeah, I have on Fox. There was like there's a detective TV series called 8PD. I think they canceled it already, but it was in the background. It was MTV. Also had it on MTV channels, some TV shows.
Oh,
Also, I
cool.
had it on the La Reina del Sur. This is something that I've been working also for years. It's
Mhm.
been almost like 6 years that I started working with a company called Crucial Music, but that's another history. I also, also that's also part of as a musician, part of my plan, try to get music in different parts, like for TV, for for the fans, and for the live show. So
That's cool.
you
So
know,
you want to make
try to
like
move it.
music for that'd be cool, like music for TV shows, music for a movie. We just had last week here in the podcast somebody that she's a filmmaker actually. She makes documentaries, and maybe I should get you guys in touch together. Maybe you could like figure that out, like
You
make some cool
you
songs.
should you should introduce me to her. I would love to give her a song. Yeah, I started trying to introduce when I was in college. I was trying. I met a professor that he liked my songs, that he was in the business, and
Hmm.
he introduced me with a company, and I started sending them songs, and they like a song, and they sign me one song, and then they sign me 10 songs. They have
Wow,
10 of my songs. It's a company. It's a super nice company on LA called Crucial Music. There's a lot of companies like this. This is one of the biggest ones, and they put music on movies and TV shows. But let me tell you, it's not easy. But at least I'm there. I'm there, and I'm working through it. So hopefully, I don't know, 2 years, 5 years, I'll have my music on a big movie. That's my plan. I want.
that's cool.
I,
What kind of movie do you want to do?
it
Like an
doesn't matter,
action movie, like a horror
I,
movie?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
what?
Actually, action movie is good. Actually, one of my songs was like was being pitched for Bad Boys 3.
Oh, really?
It was there, but at the last moment they took it out. They took another song. They put another song. But but honestly, Christian, I really don't care. Just put it out there, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I really like your style. It's catchy, and there's a combination of I feel like a lot like there's some rapping in there, and then there's some pop, and then there's some rock. It's kind of unpredictable, and it together really blends very well. I really like it. And to be honest, this CD, this album that you put out in Spotify, I've shown it to a lot of my friends, and everybody that I show it to, they love it. Like I haven't met a person that will like, oh, I don't like it that much.
I
Nobody
don't
said,
like that.
yeah, hasn't happened to me yet.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that, man. That like I told you, like that album, that was a process to make that album. Even though, like at this point, I know, I'm doing other stuff. I want to do, it was the first album, but it's great to hear that, Christian. Like for me to listen that from you telling me that, like, it really motivates me.
Yeah,
That's
man.
nice. Thank you, man.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, when I was in high school and I needed to choose what to study in my life, I was seriously considering music, and I was a little bit scared. And then I went to then I applied and I decided for med school. But when I was doing this aptitude test that they force you to make it, they in order to see what you would you be best at. 99th percentile it was music, and like 60th percentile it was medicine. And the guy was like, "What the fuck, dude? Like, why don't you go do music?" And I'm like, "No, I'm too afraid. I want to make money." But
Mhm.
like I realized I I never stopped doing. Even now I play music. I always like hang out with my guitar and I play with friends and things like that, and I love it. I love it. I in some way in my life I love how it's not attached to any type of money. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess that what I'm trying to say is that I get the fear. Like I felt the fear, and it was very real when I was in Ecuador, and I didn't know. Like I couldn't even imagine a plan of how to make it happen. I think it's like a big deal that you've made it to like what? Like you've have songs in like movies and shows. And you're in videos in Fox and stuff. Like I think that's a big deal. That sounds like a big
Thank
deal.
you, man. Yeah, I mean, now that it is a big deal, it is a big deal. I'm grateful.
Your video just caught up. Oh, there you go.
Sí, sí, ya, ya, ya lo. Ay, what happened? Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm really grateful. And about about you, I'm trying to think like about an answer like you were telling me about like the fear, like you wanted to be a musician, you had that fear. My brother, which he's one of your best friends, Jose, he also went through that process. He also told me about that process. He went for computer school. He's a very talented songwriter. Also, he's very talented. I think he's songwriter, maybe not singer, but songwriter. And and espero que no escuche. And he went through a process. He's super smart. He's super smart guy. And also he's calm. He has like a calm, he's a calm person. Like we, or my family, we're not calm. We're like, ah, but he's like calm. And he went like through a process. I think he even went to the schools, recording the schools. Yeah, and he did the math. I mean, if you decided like that, I mean, it's not gonna make sense. I mean, the way that I decided, to be honest, like it's like I'm gonna tell like that. It's like it's like that girl that you invite her in, and she never leaves, and she's your wife, like that. Like it was like that. Like I never really like took a decision. Just like it came in and just like it never left. It started like growing like, and and yeah, yeah. The thing, I don't know, maybe I think maybe also like it was like my life went through a lot of changes when I took that decision. Went through a lot of changes. We came here. Also, I had a family mostly in Ecuador. We used to live like millionaires. We had everything, and suddenly like we don't have anything. Go and make your own stuff. And I think, I don't know. I came here and fuck it, man. I just did what I love.
I like what
Yeah.
you said about it's like that girl that you bring to your house and she never leaves. I guess that, and then you marry her. So
And you
it
might
makes
hear like,
it makes me think of like it felt so natural to you. It wasn't even like you weren't even thinking about something else. It was too natural. It's a natural expression of what you are. Like it just
yeah.
nothing else made sense.
Thank you, man. Actually, yeah, kind of was like that. Like because I never really like never really had the decision. I never took the decision. Like it was never like a decision for me. Like there was a point like I'm gonna be, because I was always writing songs, and like deep inside, like I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to do that. And and always yeah, and actually I was like just like ¿cómo se manipulando la gente, like playing with my family, like playing with deep down I knew what I wanted. Like you gotta be an economist, and I'm gonna buy you a car, and I went over there. Actually, when I went yeah, I went to be economist, but I was playing with them. I was never gonna do that. And then I told them, I want to be an architecture, an architect. And they sent me to architect school. But what I was doing there, I was playing guitar with the guys and
Mhm.
smoking weed and playing, making songs. And then say, no, you suck as an architect. Okay, I want to do music business. But really, I didn't want to do music business. I want to do songs. I never knew how I wanted to do it. Like, to be honest, like I think I never been like a really mental guy. I was like kind of like just go with the flow. Like now, I'm like, oh fuck. But I'm happy now, Christian. Like really, I'm happy. I have like my apartment. Like today, I spent like mostly like all day. Like today, I did four hours writing songs, and I love that. I spent 4 hours. That was really 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 nice. Finished up a song. I did a little bit of office, and also like I told you, I like to help people which are underneath me. I mean, not underneath me, like nobody's underneath me, but you mean like they're starting. Like it's like when I see those people, like I feel like I don't know. It's not that I feel bad for them. Like I feel like a sweetness, and they need help. They need help, because I was helped too. So
That
yeah,
sounds
man. I
like
don't know. I think
empathy.
I'm talking too much.
Empathy.
Kind of, kind of empathy. Yeah, I was this guy that I follow. There's a guy that I follow on Instagram, which I know that he's just starting, but his music is really raw. and he's been promoting like a live concert on Instagram. And I thought, nobody's gonna watch that concert. And yeah, and I watched the whole concert. I was the only one watching the concert, and it was like, no, it's hard, man. It's really hard. But I'm trying to be there for people who want to do that, and that helped me, man. You believe it or not, you have no idea how that helped me. Like that's helped me the most. Helping other people helped me the most.
Like in what way helped you the most?
Like uh, for example, when I stop thinking about me, like what I need, like for example, like I'm always like I used to be like this on the web. Like I always like every time that I contact somebody, I have always the intention of telling them listen to my new song. Always, like always. I was like that. That's always been my intention. But now what I do, is like I meet somebody and I try just to know about the person. You make songs, what do you do? You try to start a conversation. And and after a while they tell me, hey, your songs are amazing, and they became fans of your music, or sometimes they share your music. Sometimes it's better just to connect. Like for me at this point, I do that sometimes. I send songs, listen to the song, but mostly people that I don't know, I try to connect with them, because there's in this time there's so many people doing music, amazing music, and I think the only thing that actually can cut through that is just personal relationship. You believe it or not, like getting like one good fan is like a virus. They get two, they get three, they get four. But that just talking with people, hey, stream my music, that doesn't work. So yeah, like that's the way I think. You give and they give you, like, but you always gotta give first. Yeah,
That's
it
wisdom,
works, man.
wisdom right there.
Kind of, yeah. I read something about wisdom yesterday. Not really wisdom, knowledge, which I have read before, but it's really true. Like when you hear something, you don't really understand that. Doesn't matter what they tell you, even though they tell you like, if you go there, you're gonna fall. That you will understand that when you will go through that, and like really like, yeah, that so yeah, that's the way it went for me. Like they always tell you like, you gotta help people first. I'm like, yeah, I know that, but when I started doing that, and I realized that that's like really like, yeah, that's wisdom, I guess. Yeah.
Wait, I didn't get it.
Yeah, man.
Like say it again.
Okay. Okay. Like I wish I could say it in Spanish. Like wisdom is when you live it.
Oh, I
Like
see what you're
you
saying.
have
Yeah.
wisdom when you live it. Like sometimes some people like they can give you like advice. Like you need to help, and you okay. Like it's not yet yours. That wisdom is not yours. You have to do what they tell you and experience the experience, and then you will access the wisdom. Yeah, it's been for me like that, with this situation. So with the people, because I wasn't like that. I was always like I told you, like stream my music, listen to my new song, and that's not the right way to go.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
man.
I see what you're saying. Like sometimes you can get all the advice in the world, but you have to experience whatever it is that you need to do before you can take that in. You know,
Yeah,
I
man.
I see what you're saying. I think about it in like different ways. I think that there's different ways to gain life experience or wisdom if we're talking about it. Like on the one side, I think the best example would be you're walking down the street and then there's a light and then there's a bunch of cars and you've never been in planet Earth. You just landed and then you're like, what the fuck? What is this? And then there's some guy that tells you, hey, if the light is red, don't walk. No, I mean, if the light is red, walk. But if the light's green, don't walk because the cars are gonna be running and you're gonna get killed. So there's one person that will take that advice immediately, like at face value, and then he will just do it, and he will just do what he's told without thinking too much about it. That kind of helps. I mean, he will not get killed when crossing that road, but but he doesn't get the attunement with the environment that you would get by learning things, living them yourself. Another way of doing is not paying attention to the advice at all. Then you get hit by a car, and then you really learn, right? Like you're not gonna do that shit anymore. Like yeah, now you got hit by the car. You're like, okay, he was right.
Yeah.
You gotta do that. And then there's the in between that you listen to the advice and you look at your environment. You just look at the light long enough, you realize that this is legit advice. And I think that's like the medium way, like really paying attention to everything that comes to you, and at the same time create your own opinions. And
Yeah, true. For me, it's getting hit with a car, man. Like for me, that's just how I learned, man. Getting hit with a car. Yeah.
you know, and I feel like I've been hit by, I literally destroyed a car once by being a little bit reckless. But yeah, like I hear what you're saying. Like sometimes we're just a little bit dumb. I feel like I've been dumb so many times, and then sometimes that makes us smarter though, right? Like going through it instead of not doing anything. Like action is better than inaction sometimes, even if it's
not doing anything. I think it's the worst. Definitely.
yeah,
For sure, man.
yeah. And then
So much wisdom, man.
I know. Well, that's the point of this podcast. You know, that's kind of what I wanted to do. Just I knew that by talking with people that are very passionate about what they do, inevitably, what will happen is that we end up talking about life and how we've gotten to the place that where we're getting happier and happier. You know, and
Let me ask you something, man. You're a psychologist. That's a
psychiatrist.
hard psychiatrist. That's a hard career. What motivated you to go through such a long, like, it wasn't really money. I mean, money, man, you could do something else for money. I mean,
True.
Easier.
True. That's true. I guess doctors started making money pretty late in their life. But I would say, you know, initially, I actually wanted to be a plastic surgeon when I started med school. That was my first go-to. I think I was just thinking about money there, but I actually did some practices with a friend of my father. He was a plastic surgeon, a pretty famous one, and I did a little bit of practices with him. And specifically, I did reconstructive surgery in a public hospital, and it was rough, man. It was really rough. First day, and maybe it was too soon. It was like maybe my second week on med school, and I was doing this outside of med school. I was doing these practices, and I go to this public hospital, and there's this guy that had an electric burn. And basically, what that means is that you grab something that shoots electricity through your body, and the electricity is so hot that it burns your insides. So this guy had his whole arm burned because he had a shock of energy that went all the way from his arm to his leg. The leg was completely destroyed, but it was fixable through surgery. But the arm, he took so long to go to the hospital that it needed to get amputated as soon as possible. This person was going to die from an infection. So I literally get in, they say hi to me, and hey, come, let's do this amputation. This was back in Ecuador, where they just need so many people that you will, no matter your level of experience, you're gonna help out. So I was on like minute 20 of my first day in the hospital, second week of med school, doing an amputation with a couple of other doctors. Wow. And it felt pretty dramatic. It felt too fast. That's how it felt. It was too fast. It was like a half an hour, and then suddenly we're putting this arm in a bag, and then the bag goes away. Then the guy wakes up, and we just move on with our lives, and we see the next case. And that was my first day. So I did that for a while, you know, and then eventually I realized that it was very painful. It was very hard to see so much physical, pain. So I realized that it wasn't my thing. Also, what it wasn't my thing is waking up every day at 4 a.m. to go to surgery. Like that wasn't my thing at all. I don't think that would ever be my thing. I just I don't wake up late. I wake up at 7, sometimes 8, but
not 4.
Not 4, right? Like not 4. And then when you do surgery, you're leaving the hospital at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., sometimes later. So literally the only thing you're doing at home is showering and sleeping. So eventually, I think it was a lifestyle mostly lifestyle, and also these other components that I wasn't very happy about. Um, then I moved to cardiology. I really liked cardiology. I still do. I loved internal medicine. I still do. Like, I really loved every little thing that I did. But what I loved the most was the idea of understanding the mind better. And this was actually through yoga. I I started doing a lot of meditation, and that really changed my way of perceiving the world in such a way, in such an impactful way, that I thought, wow, okay, I really want to get into this. I even thought about quitting med school and becoming a yoga teacher, but then I realized, well, I could do both. I could do both, and they sound synergistic. At this time, I was like a year away of graduating med school. And then I thought, okay, what blends best with both meditation and yoga philosophy and medicine? And psychiatry just made the best sense. And then I was still in Ecuador, and I discovered these shamanic traditions and their use of psychedelics for psychological healing. And I that blew my mind. That
But is
blew.
that true? Is that true, man? Can you use those kind of drugs for, like, for healing, like LSD, or
So,
just a myth?
I'm gonna do a lot of podcast episodes about it. I know a lot of the leading physicians in the world doing this kind of research, and studies seem so promising. When we think about a medication going out and being able to be prescribed, it has to go through several phases. There's the preclinical phases that deal with animals. So you try to prove that this drug's not gonna kill you, it's not toxic, so the animals kind of like survive, and then you have some like maybe hypothetical functionality. Then you test it in humans, that's phase one. And you test it in humans just to see if they're safe, if you're not going to get any severe conditions. So you try it with healthy humans. And then after that, you try it with humans that have the conditions that you want to treat. Now, psychedelics, specifically psilocybin, which is the main component of magic mushrooms, and then MDMA, which is the main component of what in the 80s people would call ecstasy. These two, and MDMA is not quite a psychedelic, but let's add it to this discussion. Both of them have been studied and are now there are successful phase 2 studies, which means that people with in the setting of psilocybin, it's been specifically tried in the terminally ill people with cancer, and the use that has been made for them is existential distress or severe anxiety and or depression relating to their death or their fear of their impending death. So, and what these people went through is that they went through a session, and it's not just the drug, it's a lot of you have a psychiatrist and a therapist, sometimes two at the same time, and they will talk with you for 2-3 hours before. Then they'll do a full session which lasts around 8 hours with you, and then they're doing some integration sessions afterwards, like maybe 4 or 5 sessions. So like almost, I think it's about a total of if it's psilocybin, it's less, but if it's MDMA, it's like 40 hours of therapy.
Wow.
While also you do these sessions in a very like 2 to 3 months total, and the results are so promising that they don't really compare to anything that we have in psychiatry. Almost 80% of the population, for example, MDMA, which may become FDA approved, they're undergoing phase 3 studies. Phase 3 studies mean that now it has shown to be very promising in people that are sick with PTSD in the setting of MDMA, but it's a small population. So now they're doing it with a big population and see if they can replicate those findings. They're doing that right now with MDMA.
Wow.
And the first half of the study is done, and then they did an analysis of on the first part, and this analysis is amazing. It's a third party, like not part of the people that are studying this drug. They analyze the data, and this mid-time analysis has shown 99% chance of it being statistically significant difference between placebo and the drug. So it's the best case scenario of a midterm analysis that you could do. It's called an interim analysis.
That
Basically,
sounds
it's
amazing, man.
so it I and the findings in phase 2 of MDMA tell you that 80% of the people taking this medication, doing this therapy, don't meet criteria, or are very close to not meeting criteria for PTSD anymore, considering that other therapies like don't cut it like that. Some do help a lot, and they have some degree of success and at you not meeting criteria for PTSD anymore. But a lot of people don't go through the whole therapy process because it's very hard to do, and MDMA makes it way easy and way more feasible to do. So it's just very promising. And also the
That's crazy, man.
yeah.
Sounds amazing.
So I guess my answer to you is we don't know, because we're still waiting for phase 3 studies, but it's very promising. It's very promising. So I'm very excited about it.
Awesome.
I could talk about it for hours, but
Yeah, I guess you love that, man. It's like me
yeah,
talking about music. You like you really love it, man. I mean,
yeah,
that's amazing, man.
yeah. I have seen testimonials of people, and I've seen the data that we have, and I'm just very excited to have a tool in which we can just bring somebody and do this, and then they leave in a short period of time saying, okay, I'm not depressed anymore, or I don't have
Wow.
PTSD anymore. I'd love that. I'd love that. It's not going to be the cure all for everybody. No, it's not. It's not for everybody, but it's going to help a lot of people, I think. We'll see. We'll have to wait until the results for phase 3 studies come up.
Sounds great, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, like yeah, that's good, man.
Yeah. So you're in Miami right now.
Yeah, man, I'm in Miami. I'm here with my wife, with my son and my daughter, and yeah. Where are you, man? Where are you now? You're not in Charlotte anymore, right?
No, I'm in New York.
Oh, New York. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
hey, how's New York?
I love it. I mean, we're quarantined right now, so we've been quarantined for a couple of months, but otherwise, it's great. I love it here. I think this is where I'm gonna stay for a long
Wow,
period of time. I think we'll see.
that's
Okay, so
amazing.
before we finish for today, anything else that you want to tell people? Like, what's up next? What's coming next?
Well, I'm working on my songs. Like now, like I have a new producer, which is Andres Acoto, which is Sergio brother. Like I'm working on a lot of songs. I'm gonna have a new song in a month called Los Incorregibles. I'm pretty excited, that I came to a point, that I know what I want, which is, grow my fan base, and also, make the music that I want to do, man. And and I found, like, for me at the moment, it's good to work with a producer, and I have my own studio, my own things, and I just not not compromising. I'm not compromising my music. Hopefully, I don't know about this year. I don't think there's gonna be shows this year, to be honest. And I was doing some. I was doing good shows actually before this came, and but everything happens for a reason. But I'm. I don't want to sound crazy, but it's not that I'm excited about everything that happened. But in a way, I am a little bit excited, because I think it's gonna be a brand new world, and it's a brand new world, and it's gonna be, yeah, and it's gonna be about, who's hustling more, like who's doing their shit better, like me, like I think, in this time I've been working a lot on my music. Yeah, and I'm happy, man. Just keep going, making songs, just keep learning, try to learn every day, read books. Yeah, man, connecting with people, helping people, and that's it, man. We see what's gonna come.
All right, Dr. Pedro with you guys. So you can follow him on Instagram at Dr. Pedro, and you can find him on Spotify at Dr. Pedro as well. I highly recommend it. It's awesome music, especially if you know Spanish, because it's all in Spanish.
Yes. Thank you, Christian, for having me here, man. My English is a little fucked up. hopefully next time we're gonna do it in Spanish, so I can, talk a little bit more, man. But thank you so much. I wish you the best on the podcast, man. I wish you the best, and that thing that you're doing. You seem really passionate, and it sounds really interesting. And and what you said, you want to help people, and I think that's all about, man. Just trying to help people, and that's how we help ourselves.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Beautifully said. Let's end with
yeah,
that.
man. Okay.
Okay.